We're getting ready to start our Rules Confirmation and Public Elections Committee meeting, and thank you for being here. Today is February the 6th, and I detect a quorum, and we're going to have elections and confirmations for the Metropolitan Action Commission, the Metropolitan Arts Commission, and the Hospital Authority, the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency, the Nashville Election Community and Arts, which is NCAT. Then we have the Sexually Oriented Business Licensing Board, Solid Waste Region Board, and the Work Release Commission. And we're going to start with the Metropolitan Arts Commission, Mr. Toby Compton. If you would come forward, and Miss Bonnie Dow. You know, our Mary Lena Romas.
Yes.
Are you here?
I am right here.
Okay. Could you just maybe pull up a seat and we'll take you all at the same time?
You're going to stand up, Debbie?
Right. You have Miss Hope Stringer. And you don't have to be in this little area right here. If you just be in the general area. Oh, he's such a gentleman. But we would like for you to sit down if you just kind of pull up a seat just a little bit. And you okay? Okay. First of all, where's our fourth person? Okay, she's coming.
Is this good?
Yeah, just push it up just a little bit.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and young man, you can have a seat right over there, okay? I hate for you to just stand up.
Get out of your way.
So we've got full house tonight. Okay. And the questions I'm going to ask, I'm referring to all four of you. First of all, are you a resident of Davidson County?
Yes.
Are you registered voters in Davidson County?
Yes.
Are you members of any other boards and commissions? No? Okay, so I'd like for each one of you just to tell me just a few things about yourself so we can get started, and then we're going to open it up for the committee members to ask you a question, okay? Is that all right? All right. We'll just start right over here.
Well, my name is Mary Elena Ramos. I've been a resident of Nashville for the past 16, 17 years. And my husband is a musician, so obviously that's why we landed here. But we love the city, and we absolutely love everything that is happening with the city, the diversity, the arts, the music, and how much we've grown. So I'm very honored to be part of this committee, if I could.
Okay, thank you.
So I am the Dean of Humanities at Vanderbilt, where actually the arts departments at Vanderbilt report up to me, which gives me some kinds of insights on the challenges of the arts and also the possibilities. But in a larger sense, I think that the arts are what make Nashville such a livable city.
And your name is?
Bonnie Dow.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
And so I think it's really important that we have a strong public art presence in Nashville, and I'm really proud that we have this kind of arts commission here.
Oh, very good. Next.
Hope Stringer. I have lived right in Nashville for 30 years. My husband and I were community volunteers and really interested in art and art collectors, and this is my second appointment to the Arts Commission. It's a great commission, and we do a lot of good work, and I thank you.
Okay, and next.
Toby Compton. I'm the president of Associated Builders and Contractors of the Statewide Trade Association. Worked with many of you before. Thrilled to be appointed. Be fun, sir.
And actually, the appointment of Mr. Toby Compton for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022, the appointment of Ms. Bonnie Dow for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022, the reappointment of Ms. Marlena Romas for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022, and the reappointment of Ms. Hope Stringer for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022, and we'll open it up to our committee members.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do I have a second? All in? I have a question.
Yes, because arts, I really appreciate everybody's, passion to the arts. And especially I find very interesting Mr. Ramos, and I am committed to the arts and committed to do anything I can to promote it, and I really appreciate the passion. So, arts is, I really agree with everybody's, commitment, but oftentimes because it does not feed. So if you can kind of, one word or a few words, why arts is important, kind of make a statement and why you are so passionate about.
Yes, so I believe that people can live out of arts, and I think the commission in this particular case have done a lot to be able to make it possible for artists, local artists, to be able to work as artists. And through the different programs we have, they're actually paying artists to be able to do what they do love. I'm very passionate about arts because I think a city cannot move forward, cannot be progressive, it cannot be diverse if we don't have arts. I think art is a very important component of making a city as diverse as possible. That's why we chose Nashville as our home, and I have seen the growth. I have seen how big of a difference it has made in the last 10 years, and we have a lot of public art right now. We have 4,000% increase since the last 9 years, and I think that's a testament of how many more artists are being able to work and do what they do want to do.
I think that I am committed to the arts because I think that the arts, they feed imagination. They allow people to picture worlds that they're not in, right? Whether it's through theater or music or film, it enables people to think creatively in ways that are open and freeing and feed the spirit.
Thank you.
I couldn't say it better than these two ladies, but I think the culture of our city is really dependent on the arts and across the board, music, everything. And I do think that we're all working to diversify our city arts, and it's really a big learning educational tool.
For the sake of brevity, I just agree with what they said. Outstanding.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers? Any further discussion? Well, we have moved to approve each one of you, and we thank you, and you have something for them.
Their presents. Free parking.
Okay.
Just like Monopoly, but you don't get money with it. It's just Party Pass.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next, we have the Hospital Authority, the appointment of Reverend Edwin Sanders for a term expiring July the 1st of 2022. Reverend Sanders will fill the unexpired term of Dr. Michael
Shockley.
Shockley. Thank you. Shockley. Shots line. L-I-N-E. I can
Like a line of shots.
Shots line. Thank you so much for that clarification. Are you a resident of Davidson County?
I am.
Are you a registered voter in Davidson County?
I am.
Do you serve on any of the boards or commissions?
I do not.
Okay, could you tell us a few things about yourself?
Well, in relationship to this appointment, I would tell you that I have served the last 3 presidents of the United States in health-related issues. I served on the Centers for Disease Control Advisory Board for the Clinton administration. I served on the President's Advisory Board for President Bush, and during the Obama administration was appointed to PEPFAR, the President's Emergency Fund for AIDS Relief. I chaired the National Syphilis and Vaccination Initiative, which was initiated, I guess, and launched here in Nashville, I guess, in the year 2000. Healthcare has been a part of the ministry that we've done at Metropolitan Church now for a total of 34 years. Our congregation was birthed February the 1st, 1981, and HIV/AIDS as we know it was identified on June the 5th, 1981. And early on, we became involved primarily because of the first death of anyone in the history of our congregation from AIDS. So I spent a lot of time working on infectious disease issues. I've probably done this work in about 22 cities across the country, as well as on the continent of Africa, especially in South Africa and in Swaziland, Zambia to some degree, and then in Southeast Asia, in Thailand. We also serve as the chair of the Legacy Project for the HIV.
Well, you just showing off now.
I feel a little overqualified.
So I just figured you wanted to know this. But one of the reasons why I did that, though, I also, on the PEPFAR, I actually serve on what's called the Scientific Advisory Board. And the reason I decided to list all those things for you is that I am replacing a person who was an MD. And I figured that you need to know that I've spent much of my work, and still do spend most of my work, engaged with MDs. As far as the hospital is concerned, 2 of my 3 children were born there. Okay, and I've had a great relationship with the hospital.
It's one thing you didn't list. Do you remember being a judge for my talent shows that I had at Hunters Wayne High School? You were. That was a long time ago, but you were a judge. Yeah.
One of the things that I can now claim as having reached age 70 is that there's some things I don't remember. But I tell you what, I was honored to be included in that.
Well, you were. You were one of the biggest names in Nashville, and I went after the best, and you were definitely one. Yeah, we thank you for your service. Okay, did I hear a motion?
I motioned yes.
Second, all in favor?
Mina?
Just one question.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. You're
Yes, because it's a
recognized.
hospital authority, and we are having lots of discussion about, I think, mostly finance, aspect. So, and I am very impressed with your background and really appreciative of trying to jump in to kind of sort out and, make the hospital move to the right direction for the city.
Yes.
And what can we expect as far as our financial, aspect to kind of move the hospital into the right direction?
I think the thing I'd be most interested in is, one, being a part of making sure that the city honors its responsibility in terms of the funding of the hospital. It's a part of a decision that was made by the council, and I think over time there have been some moments when that issue has come to be, I think, more politicized than it necessarily needs to be. My concern basically is how we end up effectively being a safety net facility that will serve those who, in many instances, do not have avenues to achieve adequate health care.
I appreciate that. It's going to be a hard work, and I think lots of us are committed to support the work hospital does.
I think you can depend on me to be a person who will always be encouraging more support.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and no opposers, so we move to approve, and we thank you so much for your service.
All right. Do I have to sign a W-2?
We'll let finance deal with that.
Okay, all right.
You'll be in touch.
We don't do that in here.
You have to tell them what you call your wife. Tell them what you call your wife.
Oh, everybody knows my wife. I mean, I'm Billy Sanders' husband.
Oh,
Yeah, she's my better three-quarters.
We like that. We love it.
wonderful.
Thank you so much. Next, we have the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency, the reappointment of Mr. Ralph Mosley, and we're glad that you're here today because last time you were not feeling well.
So, Charlie, he has fallen ill again. He's in recovery. So he has asked for a 2-meeting deferral if we could take him at the first meeting in March.
I move to defer for the first meeting in March.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, we're just saddened to hear that. Okay, well, next we have the Nashville Education Community and Arts Television. And the appointment of Ms. Rita Mitchell for a term expiring February the 5th of 2021, if you would come forward. And then we have the reappointment of Mr. Tyler Pittman for a term expiring February the 5th of 2021, and the reappointment of Mr. Joe Woodley for a term expiring February the 5th of 2021.
Oh, yes, hot seats.
Okay, where's person number 3? Okay, good. That's good. Okay, I will ask you a little series of questions and you can all answer. Are you residents of Davidson County?
Yes.
Okay. Don't pause now. You do know what you
Well, I didn't know if he was going first.
We do it together in sync.
In unison, okay?
Okay.
Are you all 3 registered voters in Davidson County?
Yes.
Okay, do you serve on any of the boards or commissions?
No.
Okay, and so just tell us a few things about yourself, especially as it relates to the Nashville Education Community and Arts Television, which is a biggie.
I'm Rita Mitchell, and I'm a native Nashvilleian. I currently work with First Tennessee, manage private banking for Middle Tennessee. So I have a financial services background, and hopefully we'll bring that to the board. I think that there's possibly an area that I can serve there. I'm also one of the charter board members of Purpose Prep, which is a charter school in North Nashville. So I have an interest in public education and serving in that area. So I would say that would be why I'm sitting here.
Thank you.
I'm being reappointed. I've been on for the last couple months, and now I'm getting a 3-year term. It's been very interesting. I've helped with board development, governance, fundraising, because NECAT has to raise its own funds as well. It's not solely supported by Metro. So it's been great. Happy to serve.
And you're Tyler, is that correct?
I'm Joe.
You're Joe. Okay. Tyler?
I'm Tyler. I'm being reappointed. This time I'm going to be the chair of the board. I've been on for the past 3 years. I worked for Sony Music and label marketing and sales, and the last years have been incredible, working with Trish and all the other board members for NECAT, and the ability that they've been able to draw attention to this great educational program, especially with Metro Nashville Public Schools. The series that they've been doing for Our Nashville, putting some spotlights onto the nonprofits, has been very inspirational, and I look forward to being in this new position as chair to really help shine a bigger light on this great organization and all the activities that they do.
Beautiful. Mina?
No, I'm good.
I have something though.
Oh, okay.
I got a call from a constituent yesterday who is concerned about using turn signals when people are driving. Had pointed out that there were a lot of PSAs, I guess, when seatbelt safety laws first came into effect. And so my constituent was asking if there could be some PSAs. And so I guess I'm pitching that into y'all's corner to see if y'all can look at and create. I mean, I don't think you want me doing it, but so yeah, let's talk afterwards, because I think maybe if we did some traffic PSAs, that could be a new avenue for y'all. And with that, I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, second. All in favor? Aye. No opposers? It's been moved. No further discussion. It's been moved, seconded, and been approved, and we just appreciate you all. Been approved.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Use your turn signal. Wait, I have free parking for y'all too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, we have the Sexually Oriented Business Licensing Board, the appointment of Mr. Rob McGuire for a term expiring October the 7th, 2020. Mr. McGuire will fill the unexpired term of Mr. Lloyd Poteet. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Well, thank
Madam
you.
Chair Lady. I'm Rob McGuire. Grew up
Can
in
I ask
Nashville.
you just a
Oh, yeah, you need to ask me the
questions
questions first. Yeah.
I love your initiative there.
Sorry, I didn't know you had a lot to do.
You're great. You're self-starter. Are you a resident of Davidson County?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a registered voter?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you serve on any other boards or commissions?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm Ron McGuire. I'm private practice law here in Nashville. Grew up here. I was prosecutor in Davidson County for about 13 years. Been practicing law for almost 20. And I'm happy to try to serve my city in this capacity.
Okay, thank you. Do we have
Did
any
you forget one other thing to share?
What's that?
Like the most important thing?
His
That I'm
brother,
dead?
your
That I'm
brother,
dead,
some
or-
family member?
He might not want to claim his.
Well, that's the thing. I don't normally claim. I don't normally claim Sean
He
in
told
public.
me that basically, that was that he was your claim to fame.
Yeah, I think
I missed that. Who?
that sounds like
That
my
one
council member was his brother.
brother was a former council member.
Move to approve regardless of
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I like Sean. Hey, I like Sean.
I do too.
When I asked him, was that your little brother, your brother? He said, no, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Move to approve.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Obviously, there are no opposers. We move to approve you, and you have been confirmed.
Thank you so
See, that
much.
makes sense. Maybe one time since you.
Thank you so much.
Whatever your name is.
I've been called worse.
He's a little brother. Next, we have the Solid Waste Region Board, the reappointment of Ms. Jennifer Hackett for a term expiring December the 15th of 2023. Welcome.
Thank you.
Are you a resident of Davidson County? Are you a registered voter in Davidson County?
Yes.
Do you serve on any other boards or commissions?
No.
And if you would just apprise us of who you are.
I'm Jennifer Hackett. I live in District 23 with Mina as my council member, and I have worked in the recycling field for the last 11 years. This last year I've been working hard with a local public school to try to improve their recycling plan in their school to help make their footprint better. And I served on this board for 1 year, filling in someone else's shoes. So I feel like I have a good understanding of it and excited about what's coming.
Okay. Sure. Do you have any questions from any
Not
committee
question,
members?
but I want to make comment
Okay.
because her background, as soon as she sat on the board, she started asking right question and really shaping up and elevated the board to moving to the recycling and solid waste and so forth, and really appreciate your involvement.
Wow.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, well, we move to approve, and thank you so much. Stand up. That's great. Okay. Next, we have the Work Release Commission, and the nominees are Darren Hall. And they are the reappointment of Mr. Dennis Blackwelder for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022, the reappointment of Mr. Joseph D. Martini for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022, the reappointment of Ms. Faye Ellis for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022, and the reappointment of Mr. Doug Morgan for a term expiring January the 1st of 2022. Are you all lined up right here? We get two of you up here, and go ahead. And who's not here?
Mr. DiMartini is recovering from the flu, so if we could ask for maybe his reappointment to be deferred for March.
Move to defer him to March.
Okay, second. All in favor? Okay, that's Mr. DiMartini's March.
And Mr. Doug Morgan has decided to let his term expire,
Okay.
his appointment expire.
Move to withdraw.
Doug
Yes.
Morgan, all in favor?
Aye.
The Doug Morgan, move to withdraw. Okay. Are you all residents of Davidson County?
Yes.
Lone Rangers. And are you registered voters in Davidson County?
Yes.
Okay. Do you serve on any other boards or commissions?
No.
Okay. And we'll start with the beautiful young lady. If you tell us just a couple of things about yourself.
Okay. Well, I came to Nashville in 1960, and I've been a realtor ever since. I own a company, a real estate company. I'm a certified property manager, and that's all I've done. I've seen Nashville grow and its ups and downs in the real estate market, and it's been exciting. It's been obviously a wonderful opportunity to serve on this board, to be able to work with folks that need our help and guidance. And we've had a lot of of help in making our decisions, but we hope we have made the right decisions. So we love working with this.
Okay, young man.
I'm Dennis Blackwelder, and I moved to Nashville in 1988 with service merchandise. I was in human resources for 30-some years, approximately. And just like this opportunity of being able to go out and take people that are having a difficult time with life and giving them an opportunity to find out how they can get back and reassociate themselves with their family and their lives. And so that's pretty much what it's all about. And just feel like that's worthwhile to do that for other people and give back to the community.
Okay. And what do you think you can bring to the board that you may think that's unique? This is a very important commission.
Well, I think that just looking at what their particular situation at this point in time, and through the training programs that they offer for the work release folks, it tell them how they can better associate themselves with the communities.
Reacclimate.
Reacclimate themselves
Yes.
with the communities.
That's very important. Very, very important. Do we have, okay, Council Lady, you recognize?
Thank you, ma'am. In your board, I understand you meet as needed, and I have not found any minute or agenda. So if you would just share when was the, how frequently you meet, like within a year, and when was the last time you met, and what's the kind of agenda and what you discussed to kind of educate us, that would be helpful.
Well, we have a prescribed time that we meet, normally every other month. And that can change subject to someone not being able to attend, and we'll be asked, can you come and fill in if somebody can't be there? So we normally meet about every other month. Just depends on the caseload and how many folks that they have that they really need to be reviewed.
Any other questions from the,
No, that's basically that covers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We do meet on a regular basis when it's needed.
Is that, sorry, Madam Chair.
Go ahead. You recognize, Council Lady.
Will there be an opportunity to add the minutes going forward of the board online?
Yes. Father Edward Steiner, who is also one of our board members, is the secretary. And so he'll be submitting the notes and the minutes from the meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? You recognize?
Just to underscore that a little bit, we've, this committee is, for at least one other Metro board, really been sort of aggressive in getting them to post minutes and agendas online just for transparency. And so, I mean, it doesn't have to happen overnight, but we would appreciate it if, for the public, those things could get online regularly.
Absolutely. I just want everybody to understand, though, the population has changed tremendously right now. So our boards, they don't meet as frequently as they used to in the past. So you may see some, when the minutes may be there every other week, and it could be every other month, just depending on the population and how many we have available for work release.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposers? We have moved to approve. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks for your
We really do
service.
appreciate it. It's a very important commission board. Okay.
Chair, could I ask your indulgence if for just a minute?
Of course.
I know that you had bumped what I had to the heel, but I've got to do announcements in 10 minutes.
Oh.
Do we have time?
Of course we do.
Thank you. I was stuck in health hospital. So
Okay,
there was
this your first one, the resolution RS 2017-949. Okay, a resolution accepting a grant from the Davidson. No.
No, it was to amend the minutes of the November meeting.
That's it. She's reading the resolution.
Yeah. Okay.
That you asked to be amended.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. A resolution accepting a grant for the Davidson County, that's it, right? No?
That's what's
Okay.
Yes, that's the resolution we're amending.
What did you think you requested?
To amend the minutes.
So the resolution that's on your agenda that you're reading correctly was what was on the minutes and on the agenda months ago. What is being corrected is at the bottom, you'll see the minutes reflect that Council Lady Wiener's presence was recorded and when she was actually not here, so she's going to correct
So we just have to correct that I was not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need to act on that?
Technically, no, but it'll just be on the agenda tonight.
Okay, and we're all in favor of that?
And I have do I need to abstain because I abstained from that resolution?
But you're just correcting the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, she's just correcting. Thank you so much.
Do we want to know where she was?
We don't want to know where she was. Okay.
Vanderbilt Hospital.
We get a doctor. We need doctors now.
I know. I think
At this time, we have 2 late files and.
Counselor, we have one more appointee.
Okay.
That was at the top of the agenda for the Action Commission.
Ms. Sue Clark?
Ms. Sue Clark is withdrawn, but Dr. Gwendolyn Watson.
Oh, the
is still
reappointment
here.
of Dr. Gwendolyn Watson for a term expiring December the 1st, 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could you come forward? I'm so sorry. We're so glad you're here. Thank you. Yes, I made a mistake because I thought she was taking her place.
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize for that. I definitely apologize for that. Are you a resident of Davidson County?
Yes, I am.
Are you a registered voter in
Yes, I
Davidson County? Do you serve on any other boards or commissions?
No, I do not.
Okay, could you tell us a little bit about your lovely self?
I am Gwendolyn Watson. I'm a retired educator, 37 years. I've served as an elementary school teacher, high school teacher, elementary principal, assistant principal, and the Department of Education, and I retired in 2012, at which time I became a grandmother, and so my first 2 grandchildren are entering kindergarten next year.
And this is the Metropolitan Action Commission?
Yes.
Wow, so you're a busy lady right now.
Absolutely.
Are there any questions from the committee?
Move to
just a little, because this commission is a really important commission as well.
Absolutely.
And if you would share ups and downs of what you are serving in the past term.
Well, I think some of the highlights of my service in the last term was the ability to engage with the Head Start at a level that allowed me to see that the Head Start program has evolved into more of a research-based, data-driven curriculum-driven Head Start, that it is aligning itself with the other preschool programs across the city, which makes then all kids pretty much at the same level in terms of entering kindergarten. Some of the work that still needs to be done, of course, is serving more students, because there are many more students out there, 3 and 4-year-olds, that really do need to be served prior to entering kindergarten, as well as being able to maintain a level of employees that, and when I say that, we have a very, very high standard for our employees. We train them very, very well, but we don't pay them commensurate with that training, so consequently we have a revolving door. And so that's one of the things that I think will need to be corrected, so we'll have to work on that. But I think access for more children, continuing to align itself with the Davidson County Public Schools will be some pluses that we can continue to grow in. So.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your hard work.
Thank you. I appreciate your questions. Yes.
I'm glad to hear you talk about the pay and the training. Councilman Pulley and I were just our council appointees to this board, and those were some of the questions we asked about when we were going through our orientation, and so that is something that I think the council could use some more education on, because I was surprised that they're not on our pay plan and step increases and that kind of stuff. And so I would like to learn more while I'm on the board, and hopefully we can educate the rest of our, I think that would be what you've already learned. Please share more with us.
We will. Thank you.
Move to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposers? No further discussion? We move to approve.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
so
your
much.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of late files, and We have Ms. Bircher. Ms. Bircher, if you would come up.
This is my first time appearing before the Rules Committee, so.
Come up.
Oh, this is how y'all do it? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
A late file. This is a resolution establishing a special committee to investigate the circumstances involving travel and other expenses, including overtime expenses potentially related to the mayor's admitted improprieties involving an employee of the Metro government to determine if there was any improper use of public money. And this is Virgil, Cooper, Dowell, Mina Johnson, Swope, Pardue, Gilmore, Shulman, and Hurt.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee members. The resolution is simply that. I will say what it is not. It is not an attempt to resolve any personal matters. That's not our purview as council members. This resolution is just seeking to provide answers, public accountability to our constituents and to the city of Nashville. It's without saying, everyone's heart is broken here. We all love the mayor. We like the mayor. She's done a great job. But we can't personalize this. I was out on the Metro website just looking when the story broke as it relates to the excessive amount of overtime. Regardless of the relationship or not the relationship, the excessive overtime. And I sorted the website by the lowest salaries. So, I said, okay, here we are, we're elected officials, and we have people that work within Metro where their annual salary does not equate to, in many cases, is far from what the amount of overtime was. So I asked the committee support as it relates to this resolution. Again, we're not trying to delve into anyone's personal matters. You may ask, there is an ongoing, there will be an investigation as it relates to the TBI. As many of you are aware, they're their own agency, and they do not account to us. They do not have to provide any data, any information, any statuses, and so forth. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, this is about us being accountable to the public. This is about us being able to answer questions. This is about us being able to move forward for healing in the city. And I believe it's not going to occur, not until we can provide those answers. And that's what this resolution does. No more than that.
Okay. Do you have any? Okay.
So, Madam Chair, so obviously the reason it comes before the Rules Committee is because it's late filed.
Yeah.
And typically what we would normally ask is the need to go ahead and get it on the calendar tonight. So I think I understand, but I just, for purposes of the committee, it might be helpful for you to explain why it's here tonight,
why it's
emergency nature of it, why it's coming, and why it needs to be approved tonight.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. Councilman Shulman.
Thank you.
So the need is the sooner we can begin the healing process for the city, the sooner we can put this behind us. Delaying it only further adds to the uncertainty within the community. Again, this is about our city. Many people's hearts are broken. And I don't know if any of you have ever been, and it's probably a bad way to equate it, but if your heart has ever been broken, you know you want answers. And when you don't have those answers, internally, you pull at things that's not there. You connect things that's not there. Case in point is, and what I've been telling my constituents, don't co-opt issues. Don't join this issue to General Hospital. Don't join this issue to transit. These are totally two different things. And until we have this healing where we can move forward, this is what this resolution will establish. And I want to correct too, because I saw where one council member tweeted that this will be a budget and finance committee. This will not be a budget and finance committee. This will be, the resolution will establish a special committee. So I want to make that clear also. But again, it's just about we need to start the transition of healing for the community, and this is what this does.
Like you're saying, immediately, if not sooner, huh?
So I don't think we need to. We owe the community more.
Labor the point.
Yeah, as long as this keeps we need to.
Festers if we don't address it.
And then it lets people know. I just want to, when I co-sign, I've had a tremendous amount of emails regarding this. And I think what it does for us is let them know that we're acting on it. We have set a standard of ethics and transparency and being forthcoming, and I think it validates that when we're able to provide those checks on our own selves, So I think putting it out any longer, people think you're not doing anything, and I agree with Council Lady Virtue. The longer it's put out there, the more people are start taking on to things that are absolutely not true and creating things that are not there. And so if we move forward and have this, we can put out the factual information and get past it and get in front of it instead of staying behind it.
And I think another reason it's very important because as it stands right now, we're all giving our own little dialogue, having our own dialogue as it relates to it. And when we can just coagulate what's being said and what's being learned and the truth is transparent, I think it does make a significant difference. And the way we look to the public is very important for them to, and to regain trust and for them to believe in us, and what we say is very important. That's why we're here.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is for Attorney Jameson. Although the TBI is not accountable to us as council members, and although I agree with us creating a committee and providing transparency and oversight in this situation, is their information going to be public, or how is that handled from the TBI? How can we get access to that information?
It's up to the TBI. The records that we have are open to the public because of the Open Records Act. There are several agencies that are exempt from the Open Records Act, and the TBI is, they list probably 50. TBI is number 2. They do not have to turn over the records of their investigation. They can, if they so choose. It was suggested that I contact them and ask, but the problem is they don't have a clue what they're going to be getting. They don't know what sensitivity levels, what privileges may apply, so they can't answer that question.
So since we are a legislative body that has a responsibility for making sure that all investigations and that information is, learned of and included in what we are doing, why would there not be an exception made because we are a legislative body dealing with this issue? Why would the TBI not share that information with us?
TBI, in the Open Records Act, the exception to that rule is that it does have to disclose the information to the members of the General Assembly, but not to the Metro Council members.
We need to get that changed. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? You have one? You're recognized.
Attorney Jameson, the TBI is going to be giving their findings, maybe not a full report, but their findings are going back to General Funk, who requested the investigation. Is that correct?
I understand.
And then General Funk could share what he has given to us.
That is correct, subject to their discretion. Again, there will be scenarios where they may want to withhold some information, a sensitive witness's identity, for example, sensitive documentation, and so forth.
I agree with a lot of the things that we've discussed here and that Chair Lady Virtue has brought up. My concern is this seems to be an open-ended fiscal issue here, because we can hire, it's listed in there, I think we can hire like auditors and attorneys and things like that. Is there any cap, it's probably to Mike as well, is there any cap on our spending limit here? I mean, are we just kind of open-ended budget? I mean, obviously I don't think that we are going to want to go down and spend a whole lot of money, but is there any limit on the amount of money that we could possibly be spending on this and duplicating efforts?
The charter doesn't apply a limit.
You're recognized.
However, the charter doesn't have a limit, but we would end up having to come back and approve the hiring of anybody that was going to get hired. So it's not going to be open-ended upon passing of this resolution. If outside professionals were going to be hired, it would be subject to the same old resolutions that we always have to approve contracts. and so there is a check on spending. And then the other thing, Mike, that I wanted to confirm is there are different lanes for this sort of investigation versus the TBI. The TBI is going to be, I mean, they're not going to investigate whether our civil ethics rules were violated. They're going to be interested in whether criminal offenses took place. And so while there may be a report to the district attorney, I think we can reasonably expect that it's going to focus on criminal activity. And I think the thrust of most of what is out there is probably policy-related things that are, metro issues that TBI is probably never going to comment on. So I think there's, I think we would have to rely on whoever gets appointed by the vice mayor on this committee to make sure that we stuck in our lane. Because obviously I don't think anybody would want to get into investigating criminal things or would want to get in the way of the TBI. But there is a lane of civil policy, internal rules that I think only we can look at.
You recognize Councilman Schulman?
Yeah, just a quick comment off of Councilor Johnson's point, which I thought was well taken, and this goes back to Mr. Jameson. So, because this is kind of a unique situation for the council, the information that we would be obtaining would be open. This is open information. It would be like the council, everything that we touch is open. I guess in terms of how this committee would function, all the records, all the information that we're getting would all be open to the committee and to the public. So what I think, it goes back to your point, understand what the TBI is doing, but that's what makes this, all this has been is about transparency, trying to make sure that everything is out in the open. I think, I think everybody wants it to be out in the open, to be able to understand, and it gives a sense of understanding to everyone, including the public, what's out there. If the TBI, depending on what they do with their information, some of it may be shared, some of it can't be shared. I understand that. Same thing with the DA's office. But if we do it, then everything is out in the public, and that's what people have asked us to be transparent. That's what we've talked about all year through our transparency, committee. Let's be transparent. So that's what I think goes back to your point. This stuff needs to be open and it needs to be disclosed so that everybody can see.
Like you said, once we get it, then that's when it becomes totally transparent at that point.
So anyway, I appreciate what this resolution is doing.
I do too. Any other comments, questions, concern, any further discussion?
This isn't a thing that we're voting on, right? This is just, we're hearing the rationale for why to suspend the rules?
Right. The only reason she's here under Rule 11 is to explain why it's late file.
Late file. Okay. So we all agree that it's okay, it's approved as a late file? Okay, and we thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, committee members.
Thank you for that awesome explanation. At this time, we have amendment number 1 to ordinance number BL 2018-1060. Mr. President, I move to amend ordinance number BL 2018-1060 by revising the reference to BL 2014-966 in the second recital to instead reference BL 2014-996 as shown on the attached Exhibit A. And I'd like to yield to Attorney Mike Jameson to apprise us of this particular ordinance.
It is simply a housekeeping measure. There was an incorrect spelling of the ordinance. They left off the BL and switched the 669 to 696.
Oh, all of this for that?
It's a typo.
Oh, typo. Okay. Well,
sounds good.
Is everybody in agreement with this typo being corrected? Anybody opposed to that? All right. At this time, I'd like to thank everybody, and we consider the rules.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
one last question.
Okay.
So I'm asking this to Mr. Jameson because Councilor Weiner was here. She has a late filed amendment to my substitute on the general hospital bill. Does that need to be taken up in here as well?
I would suggest you do.
All right. So if it's permissible, then I'll just explain what it is. So we just spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of time yesterday in budget, and we just spent a lot of time in health and hospitals. This is the measure regarding the the Hospital Authority and General Hospital. This is the measure. My initial substitute, which was timely filed, was at $19.7 million to the hospital. There was 3 hours of discussion yesterday in the Budget Committee. Council Lady Weiner, in an effort to show true democracy and trying to get something worked out, came up with a solution, which was then presented to the Metro Finance Department, to Meharry, to General Hospital, to the council. Everyone agreed. It was a beautiful thing in the sense that it was this was what true negotiation was all about. But it had to amend onto my substitute, so it will be a late filed amendment by Council Lady Weiner and whoever else signs on to the amendment, but it's on to mine. So she's going to have to bring it up.
Okay.
So because it wasn't filed timely on mine, it's late filed and will have to come before, well, it has to come before the entire council.
Okay.
Okay?
So if I may ask, your amendment is, as you have discussed at the Budget Finance Committee, and substitute as amended, that's the cleaned up version will be the late file.
So I'm asking Mr. Jameson, so I think when it was redone today, it was put all in one. Is that right? So it would be...
It's a new substitute.
So it would be a new substitute, which would be late filed.
Right.
So it's actually, it would be my measure that's late filed now.
Right, just to get us through the committee, we kept calling it an amended substitute, but today it's just the substitute.
It's just a substitute. So it was an effort, it was a true effort democracy. The two gentlemen on the end helped start this and were significant in there. I can explain what the amendment, what the whole thing does if you want. But
No, we got it.
Good.
I did. We got it. We spent 3 hours yesterday.
I do have a question about it.
Okay,
So
you're recognized.
It's my understanding that the new
Substitute.
Schulman has, it takes out the language about the hiring freeze. And Personnel Committee, the administration made it sound like a hiring freeze would still be on the table. And so I hope that we can get that question asked and answered on the floor as well, either by when you introduce it, if you don't mind, or I'm happy to ask, or somebody asks, because I want to make sure that transparency-wise, even though we take it out, if the administration is still putting that on the table, I think we deserve to know.
And that's fine. And quickly, what I'll tell you, what was said in Health and Hospitals, and there was a letter that Director Lomax sent to everybody. I don't, you'd have to ask her directly. And I did in there, but I never really got the response that I was looking for, yes or no. But I don't think she was trying to do anything other than make sure that it was clear. Even if we add additional, even if we take it from their 13.2 to 17.141, it's going to come out, that extra money is going to come out of the undesignated fund balance. She is going to be working to try to figure out how to replace that. If we don't replace it, we have to do it in the next budget cycle and immediately put it back in to get it to 5%.
And she has the power to do impoundments and hiring freezes. The fact that that was disgorged in the legislation was just an effort on their part towards transparency. She can turn around and do the impoundment tomorrow.
And I think I want to clarify that on the floor.
And that's fine.
And either whoever wants to ask it.
Yeah, okay, you recognized.
Just not on that topic, but just since I've got 7 of you here and it sort of relates to the Rules Committee, one of the rules is about the indefinite deferral and ways to bring back bills. Before the news of the last week, I had put on the agenda an indefinitely deferred bill about insurance. And given the sort of chaos of last week, when it comes up on the agenda, I'm not going to pursue it. And I just want to let everybody know that.
Definitely.
I think after I let it go today, it's dead. Because I will have made an attempt to bring it back, and then it'll be gone.
Gotcha.
Has there been any conversation about, I don't know, in the Health and Hospital, about like the health insurance and any conversation at all about like looking at it from the last time that?
I don't think so.
I need to send, I'll send something to, or whatever, to have a conversation about that. I mean, I agree, I think a conversation needs to be had, but I think we need to take some things under consideration. I don't get the health insurance, but I do want to, make sure, when we look at the historical why they have the insurance out there, I want to make sure that we're not, that we're being sensitive to why.
Well, I think after tonight, this bill will be dead.
Well, it's election time. Everybody brings this bill up before re-election because it gets you some TV time, and it makes it look like we as council members are getting free health care. When, you look at it, is that it is cheaper for me to buy insurance through my company than buy Metro's insurance. And even there's a perception out there that even after we leave council, like I don't have Metro's insurance, but 10 years from now I can go get it, and they're going to pay 75%. And so I think, we owe it to people to be transparent about what it is and what it isn't, and not to put those sound bites out there.
Well, I agree, and one of the things I think needs looking at is the benefit is worth $0 to multiple council members who have already earned a full Metro retirement already, and it's worth to young married council members $250,000.
How many of them buy insurance? How many young council members do not have insurance with their company? I think when I looked the last time.
Colby's self-employed.
I'm self-employed.
It's worth $0 to Bill Pridemore. It's worth $250,000 to Colby. I think. But it's going to be dead because I'm not pursuing it tonight.
Thank you. Is there any other further business? Any business? We recognize Mike.
You do have the rules in front of you. I know it's been a bad week, and so we can do it next time, but.
We'll do it next time. Is that okay? We'll go over the rules, study them.
I will not be here at the next meeting, so I'll submit my notes to you.
Okay, submit your notes. If there's no other meetings, then the Rules Confirmation and Public Elections is adjourned.
Read that email I sent you.
Okay.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.